I got
I
the
actually got it's been a little while, but I got a nice whiskey right here that I bought.
we pinkies raised tonight. Like
Mm,
we ghetto fabulous tonight. I got a glass of red wine, El
let's get it.
Spañol.
Hold on, hold up. All right, here we go.
We got the vino on deck.
Well, you got the vino on deck. All right, all right.
Yeah, vino rojo, by the way. How was your weekend, Mr. Savory?
Weekend's pretty good, man. You know me. I'm low key on the weekends, chill, spend it, wife, family. Try to stay away from a lot of madness.
What
I try to be low key, just feel to get ready for my week. That's kind of my strategy, you know. So
so you have a breakdown, like you have a whole list, what's on the agenda, you have everything together. That's what you're saying.
I like to relax and work on weekends and not do too many distracting things. I try to be less on my phone, stuff like that. You know, I try my best, but
Yeah, yeah, it makes
feel me?
sense. I try, but it depends on my availability. If I have an open slot, a couple of hours, I tend to want to go live real quick
Feel you. I
on
feel you.
TikTok and then take advantage of that and start the conversation.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm excited to be here. It's Monday, and there's been a lot going on this over the course of this weekend, over the course of last week that we're still catching up to date on. And there's a lot of things that we want to talk about. So we want to thank you all for joining us. We are just two liberty loving Latinos from the inner city talking about culture and politics over a drink.
Yes, sir. Come join us as we tackle decades of lies in inner cities. Come holler at us.
All right.
Here we
Let's get
are.
into the opening question, shall we?
Let's
And
do
that
it.
question is Savory. What does it mean to protest? What has it meant to protest?
And I had a whole answer in my mind, like I was thinking, but you know what? You know what comes to mind right now? Protest is probably one of the most important things that we can do since the beginning of time when I think about it, right? But to answer your question, to not get too deep into that so we can get this popping is it's just challenging authority, bro. Like if I were to like summarize an effective protest is you're challenging the norm, right? You're challenging authority. You're kind of bringing you're fighting for your voice back, right? People forget that part of the First Amendment is the right to petition your government, aka that's protesting, right?
That's right.
So people think of First Amendment only as what I can say freely to criticize the government, but really our founding fathers put it in place to do what? To petition against our government when things don't go well. So that's how I kind of look at protest. I connect it to
Does
the
it
First Amendment.
does protest mean to incite a riot?
It does not, because then you are now towing the line between breaking laws and orderly misconduct, and what I'm saying, like once you get all that, we're talking about, is it okay to um, damage businesses, okay to damage property? This is like separate from protest, right? It was never
Right.
intended to be
So
that.
we're not intended or we're not commissioned as free citizens to destroy property or destroy neighbor or do anything of that nature in order to get our voices heard as we petition our government, correct?
Yep, and as we transition to this, let me tell you why, man. It just came to mind is because we have no right to other people's property, things, and businesses, right? You are petitioning. Usually, an effective protest is against who? The government,
That's right.
right?
Not against each other and the government, it's against the government. Just
Exactly.
that's it.
And again, let me leave people with this as well as we keep moving here. What's the fastest way to discredit a protest? Few answers to this, but what comes to mind really quick? I'll just throw it at you really quick before we transition.
The fastest way to, I guess, to get their attention is the amount of people that are speaking, right?
Yeah, but what's the fastest way to discredit it? Like, let's say we're peacefully
To
protesting.
discredit. Okay. The fastest way to discredit it is probably through violence and destruction.
Exactly. Which
Yeah,
is what, again,
immediately.
we have to be very wary when we hear about violence and destruction happening, because that's what people want you to think who are against it, because that's the fastest way to discredit. It's hard to discredit a million peaceful people protesting because that's effective. So you throw in violence in there, which some of what we'll get into tonight. So stay tuned. Let's get to this. Yeah.
Let's check this out.
Well, we got to stay on the street, and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they know that we mean business.
So I want to give this point just so that Whoopi gets her point across, because before she ushered in the statements from Maxine Waters, she wants to now portray this as, let me tell you what she actually said, as if there's any difference. But you'll see. I'll let you guys be the judge.
Yeah, I mean, someone had asked Maxine, as a black man, I feel like nothing changes. George Floyd is waking people up, yet nothing happened despite the rhetoric. What difference needs to happen? If nothing happens, then we know we've got not only to stay in the street, we've got to fight for justice. But I'm very hopeful we'll get a guilty, guilty, guilty. After 4 years of real race baiting, I have to say
So wait a minute. That's all she said. So you just add more to it, not, you didn't change what she actually said in the meat of it. So maybe the people who made this clip maybe locked out some of that other stuff there, but it doesn't change the meat of what Maxine was saying, right? Am I right, Savory?
Yeah. Go back again. That's good. I see you was going back. Go back
On
so
the
people
street,
can see this.
and we've got to get more active. We've got to get more confrontational. We've got to make sure that they.
Is that a
All right.
mix
All
of
right.
words? Wait a minute, is that a mix of words? Is there somebody nefarious in the background that put the word confrontational in her mouth?
I heard it
Just
from
curious.
herself, and that's what she believes, man.
So in Maxine's Waters world, in her world, to be confrontational today is a byproduct of not listening to the initial protest, right? So that's taking it up a notch. That's what protest means today in 2020,
Mm.
2021, and 2022. Be confrontational.
Well,
Be
I think
confrontational.
that's a good point, Macho. But you know what I think that is right there. What's happening? They're trying to justify certain actions, right? So, for example, people would tell you businesses will burn down, right? But they will tell you, but how about the many people being shot every day on the streets, right? So they're trying to give people a justification, right, to embolden them to actually do crazy things on the streets, right? Because people get emboldened by politicians are powerful, right? We might not think much of her because these politicians are a joke, and we can find plenty on both sides that Macho and I both disagree with, but at the end of the day, these politicians have power. When they say certain things, there's people listening who are stuck to that TV and following their every word. We got to be really careful with that.
That's right. We have to. And to add to that for tonight's inner city talks is that's not what protest means. In the 1960s that we look back at, right? We want to teach real history. 1960s, seeing Martin Luther King marching side by side with his brothers in arms, interlocked, right? I got this imagery of arms by arms, despite the fact you had police officer hosing them down, right? Not because they were black. They were hosing them down because they didn't want their narrative to be shared, right?
Yeah.
It could have been a little bit of racism. It could have been that. But at the end of the day, they didn't want this movement to perpetuate. They didn't want to change how society was. And Martin Luther King and company was like, no, We want our voices to be heard, but we're going to do it in this specific way. We're going to do it lock arms with each other, and we're going to be peaceful into the ground. Despite the outcome,
Yep.
we're still going to do this. Despite what you do to us, we're still going
gonna
to do this. Despite the fact that you don't listen to us, we're still going to be peaceful.
And Macho.
That's the kind of protesting that Martin Luther King showed us,
Yep.
and that's what we're avoiding.
And let me add something to that to bring it full circle, right? What is something they also did, right, to push what they were doing forward? I'm gonna tell you right now. They affected the everyday economy, right? When we think about the busing, this is the same thing the truckers are doing. So it's not only peaceful protest works when you have the numbers, but you have to make them suffer a certain way. You have to make them feel it, right? Let's use a better word.
Correct.
Not even suffer. They have to feel it. They felt it in the 1960s through busing and restaurants and X, Y, and Z and other things, right? Now they're feeling it here through their whole entire system of importing and exporting product into the U.S. because it's the bridge that connects Canada and Michigan. So
That's
they're
right.
making them feel it, and they have numbers. You see? So that's effective now. And you have them work.
And we're going to get into more of that effectiveness and in the governmental's response. And we'll show you guys specifically where we're going here in this next segment. Keep it locked. Keep it 100. And now as we get into the meat and potatoes of this show, Justin Trudeau, I want to remind you guys, if you haven't checked it out, check out the previous episode that we did on Friday night. You will see, but we're gonna tag you guys in and show you exactly some of the inflammatory statements and the contradictory statements that Justin Trudeau said in one of his, I would say, his press conferences. He was diagnosed with COVID, so he had to be in a satellite press conference area, and this is what he had to say. Check this out.
Yeah, good afternoon.
As the official king of Valentine's Day,
All right.
I love to hear everything about the loveliest.
At the right time.
And leaders or organizers of this convoy have asked to meet or at least hear from you about what's happening in their demand. Have you or will you or anyone from your government meet with them or negotiate with them in any way?
My focus is standing with Canadians and getting through this pandemic. The way to get through this pandemic is to continue making the challenging choices and sacrifices as citizens, as individuals, as communities,
Bro.
to keep each other safe,
Come on,
to
man.
trust science, to trust facts, to continue being there for each other.
What?
He says he stands on the side of Canadians. Check this out. Who are the people at the convoy? What are they? Are they aliens?
They're Canadians.
They're Canadians. So why aren't you standing there with them? Why aren't you talking to them? You just said you stand on the side of Canadians. So what are you telling me what you're standing on and what are they standing on? They're not Canadians?
Again, they're categorizing them as right-wing extremists.
We'll get to that.
All right, yeah.
Oh, yeah. We're going to get to that.
That is my focus. That is what I will stay focused on.
Check this out.
Can you explain the reason why you won't participate or meet with them? I mean, you've attended rallies on the Hill in the past, including during a Black Lives Matter protest and others. Is there a reason that you can give as for why you will not discuss or have any negotiations with this particular?
Justin Trudeau standing on the side of Black Lives Matter. Why aren't you speaking to them? Why aren't you engaging them? Why aren't you asking them the questions? What is it that they can do so that you can peacefully get them an exodus so that they can, what is essentially, how can you negotiate with them, right? Here's what he has to say about that.
Particular group?
I have attended protests and rallies in the past when I agreed with the goals, when I supported the people expressing their concerns and their issues. Black Lives
When I agreed with the goals, Savory, you peeped that? When I agreed with the goals.
Yeah.
Matter is an excellent example of that. But I have also chosen to not go anywhere near protests that have expressed hateful rhetoric, violence towards fellow citizens, and a disrespect not just of science, but of the frontline health workers and, quite frankly, the 90% of truckers who have been doing the right thing to keep Canadians safe, to put food on our table.
Here you have a terrible leader, by the way, who says he stands on the side of Black Lives Matter. He stands on the side of Canadians, not avoiding the fact that who are standing there, the 2,700 truckers that are there, the 90% that he said are vaccinated, they're all there. They have no disregard for science. They have a disregard for what, Savory? Please enlighten the entire audience here. What do they have a disregard for?
You're saying the protesters.
Yeah. What is it exactly that they have a disregard
Look, I'm going to
for?
peel your question back to give even the audience a bit more. We have to simplify things. These people are fighting for basic human rights, aka freedom, aka not having a mandate. They're not even fighting against what people are saying, right? They're trying to characterize these people as like, and I want to play this really quick as well, Macho, because I want people to see something right before you play that next clip, because we have to draw the line somewhere challenging these people, right? Because for me, what is the definition of tyrannical, right? The definition of tyrannical is unjust and oppressive government. It's that simple. It's not killing people, right? It's not putting it's not putting people into concentration camps, right? Ultimately, the definition is an oppressive government, right? That's what it is. So I want to show this, Macho. So as we keep moving into this segment, and stay tuned, guys, we're going to hear from Jordan Peterson and give you some different good perspective on what people have to say. But let's play this really quick.
Let's do
Canada, where Justin Trudeau's tyrannical behaviour is manifesting in all sorts of disturbing ways. We've seen reporters and journalists targeted, tear-gassed alongside the peaceful protesters who have been seemingly become political targets, Douglas. They've had their funds seized, bank accounts frozen without a court order. It seems incredible this is happening in Canada.
It's incredible. We're going to have to get used to it, and we're going to have to wise up to what's happening very, very swiftly. This has been happening very fast. We talked about some of it last week. Just since we last spoke, it's gone radically worse in Canada. I mean, the Prime Minister has used laws which are meant to be used in wartime, and he's used them against a peace.
The man has used laws that are meant to be used in wartime.
This is egregious.
By the way, Macho, that's an actual fact. When I say that's an actual fact, that is an actual fact, right? When we're talking about martial law and things that are being implemented right now. This is crazy things. And again, I'm just showing people really quick what tyrannical is. Tyrannical is.
They're treating them and saying they're terrorists without saying it.
Yes, this
Seizing
is why
their accounts without a court order. This is Canadian news, guys. This is not us saying this. Seizing their bank accounts without a court order. You're treating them like
terrorists. And look what American Ninja is putting here, right? They banned all military grade. This is facts, right? A few years ago. I think that was about 4 or 5 years ago. Or maybe they took more extreme measures those years, but they probably started before that, right? This is how it feels. He doesn't want to negotiate. He wants war, right? He doesn't really want to reason with these people because they're not his ideological friends. He's not for the people. He's for his agenda.
On their side. He don't stand on their side.
Yep, and really
you'll
quick
stand on the side. You'll stand on the side of BLM. Is he ignorant to what happened in 2020? Is he?
No. He knows. Selective memory.
Peaceful protest. Got it. All of this is on Justin Trudeau. You know, there is no need for any of this to have happened. Any reasonable democratic leader should have been able to listen to the concerns of peaceful protesters and try to effectively listen to their concerns, negotiate with them, pacify them where possible, give in where possible, and more. And from the very beginning, Justin Trudeau totally eschewed that possibility. He called all of his critics all of the worst names imaginable. He slandered the truckers. He slandered the supporters of the truckers. And now he's moved to the next phase. Not just sending in.
So what's the next phase right here? This is where I'm going to end.
Brutally end the protest in Ottawa, but using legislation which I don't think any democratic government has previously used against its citizens, ordering banks to stop the accounts of people not only involved in the protests, but apparently supporting the protests.
Bro,
Terrible.
this is
absolutely terrible.
I'm going to argue something. This is probably one of the worst things we've seen.
And we're going to go right into this video right here of Jordan Peterson, who's also, I'm not sure if he's now a U.S. resident now. I'm not sure. But he
I don't think so, no.
he is a Canadian resident. And here's what he has to say on the matter when it comes to Justin Trudeau, or excuse me, just I was going to say something else, but I'm not going to do that.
The leader of the Socialist Party in Canada, so hypothetically on the side of the working class, the people who are most opposed to the truckers in Canada are the people who vote NDP, the socialists. About 20% of the population stably in Canada. And now and then we have a socialist provincial government. And they've done some good, you know. I don't want to get into that. But like I said, there are people on that side of the equation who, for example, were fostered in the labor movement, and they had things to say. The working class needs to have their say. But the vast majority of people who vote NDP in Canada are opposed to the truckers. It's like, I thought you guys were on the side of the working class.
Go figure. But hello. Go figure.
That's
go figure.
This common sense.
This
common
is the
sense.
Cognitive dissonance that I talk about with people. It's hard to be consistent in this world, so measure your words, right? Because you cannot be for a certain movement and then in the same breath not support a part of what makes that movement, right? How do you not support the workers here, but you're for the workers?
Ding, 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 ding,
Come on,
ding,
bro.
ding.
Think about that. Oh, no, I'm a socialist. I love the
Where'd you
workers.
find this?
But guess what? I don't support these workers. No. You don't support it because it's not aligned with your agenda.
It's like, what's happened? Well, not them. It's like, hey, man, welcome to the working class, those truckers. Well, they're all white supremacists and racists. It's like, really, in Canada, are they now? White supremacists, really? Or Nazis in Canada? There aren't any of them. There was some dimwit was waving a Confederate flag at the rally. And the truckers, he was masked. The truckers stripped him of his mask and chased him away. But all the mainstream press reported Confederate flags at the trucker rally, as if that
I want to make a very strong point here. And Savory, we talked about this on Friday. Mm-hmm. They were able to spot one flag, right? And then that they didn't talk about from what Jordan is talking about here, right? That the trucker was able to spot that, got that guy out, which I think it was a plant. It was a plant. Nobody is of the Confederacy there. No one would. That's America's issue. That's not Canada's issue. Right?
Exactly.
So it's like, so that's why he's like, really, white supremacy in Canada. Really?
Mm-hmm. And I've mentioned that too as well, because I'm like, where those flags come from, right? You probably got a selective picture, and I wouldn't even be surprised if it wasn't from that day. These people do whatever it takes to push a narrative forward. That's the key. Whatever it takes. Macho, you want me to show you something they will never show us? You want me to show you some realities that they will never hit on? Let's get to this really quick.
Let's do it.
They're afraid because they know real Canadians have had enough of this.
And would you say that the Freedom Convoy and the supporters of it have been a benefit to your life since they've arrived in Ottawa?
100%.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story.
So you want to start a war in the age of icons.
Look at all the Confederate flags. Truckers reasoning with the police.
But stop it right here real quick. But I just saw on CNN not too long ago them portraying this confrontation as the truckers putting the kids as shields between them and the police. Wait a minute. Is there a fire? Is there a crossfire happening here? They're with their children. It's been widely covered. Their children are there. Their wives are there. Their whole families are there. They literally have gas stoves cooking there because they're taking a stand. They're not leaving. So you're either going to arrest all of them or none of them. So they're going to stay there.
That's the problem. These are the things, and I'm going fast track here. I just need another 30 seconds. I
Go for
want
it.
people to see the tons of things they don't show, and you know how passionate I am about this because this is called selective outrage and just withholding truth.
Facts.
There is nobody causing hate here.
Look at that.
Nobody causing harm here. Protest.
Well, she does a relevant point too, but we won't even get into that. The point is, on the ground, there's many things they're not showing, right? And then this is going to lead to a point I want to make here is Ottawa police, these are reports on the ground, are telling media cameras, including one of ours, to stay away from trucker crackdown or face. This is a tweet by Matt Firm. All media who are attending the area, please keep a distance. This is a tweet by the Ottawa police, by the way, right? I want to show this really quick here because this is an actual tweet by them. Check this out. This is how this gets crazy, right?
I just can't believe, Savory, just as before you get to that, I can't believe that they're freezing their accounts, right? I just
Oh
shared
yeah,
with you earlier today. I can't believe
insane,
that
insane.
they're freezing their accounts, they're tracking their addresses, they're flagged their Bitcoin accounts, $3.6 million that they've already possessed. And I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm not
what
surprised
in
by this stuff
God's
no
name is
more.
going on here? Like,
This
all
is
you
what it
have,
is.
can you imagine if he did this to the BLM? Can you imagine if
Come
Donald
on, bro.
Trump did this to BLM? If Donald Trump even did this to Antifa, whom I'm sure most Americans would have been like, yo, go after Antifa. They are a terrorist organization.
It's crazy, bro. Look at
It's
this.
crazy.
Look at this. This is an official tweet. Ottawa police, all media who are attending the area, please keep a distance and stay out of the police operations for your safety. By the way, there's footage where they're covering the section up for people to not go in anymore. Anyone found within areas undergoing enforcement may be subject to arrest. So now you're arresting journalists, you're arresting people with cameras, iPhones, you arresting people who are just trying to report. What is this?
And
An
this is
infringement on free press.
Yes, and this is also, first off, this is the beginning of an end of a government when you do that, by the way. Just so you guys know out there, this is the beginning of the end of a government. It happened to Sweden, it happened to many different governments, it even
For
happened to
sure.
Germany. When you take over the press and the people don't know what to report or how to report, that's the beginning of the end of you. I'm sorry.
And
There's
this
no PR that could walk you back from that.
no,
Because
for sure.
the
Once you lose it,
distrust
you don't get
the
that back.
distrust is so big. This is why no one wants to mess with the press. No one wants to touch that because when government sticks their hand and now says, no, we're going to arrest you if you come into this. And what we're talking about, guys, is they classified that area of the red as a red zone. The Freedom Convoy area
Mhm.
is classified now as the red
Yep.
zone. So
Yep.
no
And it
press,
started with this
nobody's
tweet,
allowed to go there.
which is crazy. And look, you're one or two people. This guy tweeted on response to that, a free media is critical. They are our eyes and ears. You need to accommodate them as safely as possible. That's ideal. Look what somebody responds. They are just asking to stay out
Wait a
of
second.
the way.
Do we have
One person said it's
any
critical.
do we have actual evidence of this? Do we
Yeah,
have evidence of this? Because I want to
yeah,
see
you
this
know
right now.
what? Y'all seeing us live right now looking this up. What is that right there?
Ninja, do
UN.
you have actual evidence of this? Because we could look this up right now because this is absurd. The UN is in Canada. The UN should be in Ukraine.
UN plane at Canada airport is not related to Ottawa protest. Of course they're gonna say that. That's not what I.
So it's
Don't tell me.
there. So what
Don't
that
let
no.
don't let
What
me
it
Google something and give
it's
me the answer. I
it's
hate that.
no. It's telling you it's there. What it's saying is it's unrelated. That means it's there. It's there.
Confirmed. United Nations has landed in Canada. Video to prove it. Now, don't tell me why. Let me figure that out. This is the problem. I'm gonna encourage people. This is the problem. When you look for something,
This is
don't go by
absurd.
this first headline I found. Airport is not related to Ottawa protests. Why would I believe that? Why are you telling me something that you think I should believe? No, I'm gonna dig deeper. Right? Confirmed. United Nations. There's some people. So why are you gonna be there? Oh, it's just no. Come on, man. No, don't give me this.
Well,
So they're
here's
there.
the thing. Say
We can
here's the
confirm they're
thing.
there.
Here's the thing. So we just confirmed that the UN is in Canada. They're going to say it's unrelated. Sure.
Of course
But
they're
at
gonna say
least
that.
we know you're there. So you're there. But you never showed up to the United States when we had 2020, the BLM riots. Stores were being looted. Property was being damaged. Buildings were set on fire. Molotov cocktails thrown at police cars. We had police precincts taken over. We had almost a takeover of a federal courthouse. We had attacks on politicians several times. Candace Owens was attacked, thrown piss bottles at. We had several things happen in the year 2020, and not a single blip from the UN came. Not a single blip of action that came from our federal government. Say, hey,
Mhm.
BLM, we got to tame this down. What is the narrative today? The narrative today is that wasn't BLM. Their protests were mostly peaceful. It was after that. It was when it got dark. Those were other people. No.
Man.
That's not how it works. You are responsible for that as well. You are responsible for the looting, the rioting, the burning buildings.
Mhm.
Who bailed out the people who threw the Molotov cocktails out at the police cars? ACLU, BLM. Who is bailing out the same person who shot at a mayoral candidate in Illinois?
Mhm.
BLM, right? So who's bailing out a person in California? BLM, right? So over and over again, we're going to see instances of where they stand, and yet not a single politician is talking about their hateful, violent rhetoric. But Justin Trudeau is talking about the Freedom Convoy being a hateful, violent rhetoric. Where? Where are they violent? Not a single property is destroyed. Nothing is blowing up on fire. In fact, you're doing everything that they want you to do because the world is watching. Just like that woman
Mhm.
said, the world is watching you. You are freezing our accounts. You're telling us that we're not Canadian. You're telling us we don't have a voice. You're saying that we're white supremacists. The world
Facts.
is watching you. There, and you're
And then
doing exactly what we want you to do.
oh, what's good, Jay? Let me say what up to my man. Jay is in the house. Jay is on our live. What's up, Jay? But look, this is a good comment. Think about this. Yeah, January 6th was the worst since 9/11. Shaking my head. Yeah, you get what I'm saying? So you people push these
I don't have
narratives,
enough
and
wine for this.
you know what? I also want to share this, right? Right now, and this is for people to think of. We're not making any assertion. I don't know what's happening yet, but I do want to share this with people here, right? I
Go
want to
for it.
share this with people here, right? Because this is important. I don't know if you heard of this, Macho. It was a facility where tons of guns were shipped out on a truck. Now, some people are thinking that they're going to plant a trap, right? And that trap is going to be saying that the protesters are a threat. They have guns around them and all that. And we know we're going on a month on this, by the way, for those of y'all who don't know, they're going on a month on this. There hasn't been no major story of violence, but they have to create something to legitimately stop this. And I have a feeling it could happen sooner than we think. Can y'all
It's
hear
not.
that?
No, I don't. There's nothing playing on our end.
All right, let me try this one more time, guys. Let me see if this
Be
plays.
patient with us, guys. Be patient. We're working on the fly here. I just get frustrated with all of this because if you think this is not going to happen in New York, if you think it's not happening in America, if you think it's not going to happen in America, think again. Think again.
Check this
It's
out.
happening.
Convoy spokesperson from RCMP Officer Daniel Buffer alleged tonight on Facebook that guns could be planted around the convoy to attempt to discredit them, specifically referencing a truck with 2,000 guns. I saw that video of the truck is probably on this link, but I'll recommend people to research themselves so we don't,
Yeah.
Today, on February 14th, we received information from multiple believed reliable sources that firearms may be planted in Ottawa, specifically around the Freedom Convoy, to discredit the protest and to use as a pretext to forcibly remove peaceful protesters.
Unreal.
Due to the nature of this information, we felt it prudent to notify the public in the interest of their safety. This private intelligence correlates with the approximately 2,000 firearms stolen in Peterborough, Ontario on Sunday morning, February 13th.
You could trace this
Sources
back.
have notified us that these weapons may be planted by nefarious elements, and at this point, we have no further knowledge about who is behind this act of sabotage. As soon as we received this information, we notified the appropriate.
And again, he goes on, explains, you could hear more detail, but the point is, this sounds crazy to some people who haven't been keeping up with some of what this government can do, or the government in general. I saw the truck, by the way, the video, right? We'll have to look that up. We won't look for that now, but I encourage people, go look yourself. There's a whole truck being escorted out with tons of guns inside in the middle of the night next to where they're protesting. So you have to justify military intervention to do this. So I think they're up to something, Macho. That's my opinion. And it's a sad thing, right? And I'm gonna say this, man. We have to be very. We have to stand up against stuff like this. You know how passionate I am about this. Since the beginning of this,
Tell them.
For me, it has not been about vax or no vax. No. Look, it's one word. I love the name of this protest: Freedom Convoy. When you lose your freedoms, it don't matter what you think. It don't matter if your party's in power. It don't matter who's making laws. When you have no freedom, these people are losing freedoms, and they're being labeled as terrorists. They're being labeled. They're lying on their name on purpose because they want to stop this, because this is a threat to government. So again, I'm not buying a lot of these narratives, and Macho and he are just trying to show you a perspective of what could happen. Just take a look at it like that. What could be? Because at the end of the day, you have two options here with this convoy. You ready, Macho? These are the two options in my mind. You either believe the narrative that's being fed to you, right? That thousands upon thousands of people, right, are marching and protesting, then it turned to rioting, it turned to crime. Or there's thousands of reasonable people who want change in Canada. The truth is, people want change. I have not seen no credible evidence that this protest is out of control. And if you see it next week, you heard it here first. They're scheming, they're scamming, they're working overtime to discredit this protest.
And this is why I'm frustrated with this whole narrative of race baiting, because race only helps the race that's arguing their gripes with the government. Freedom argues the gripes for everyone.
Yes.
Everyone should be
There
arguing
we go.
this. Everyone should be at the front line screaming out loud that we want freedom, not draconian laws.
So, Macho,
I
are
don't
you
want to hear
saying
none of the excuses. I don't want to hear, oh, I'm against the mandates, but it's okay. You could wear a mask. It's not going to hurt nobody. If you're against the mandates, don't wear a mask. If you're against the mandates, don't give in to that. Speak
So,
your voice
Macho,
up. Grab arms. Interlock your arms like Martin Luther King in that protest. Interlock. I'm tired of it. Speak up for freedom, because it's not about just one group. It's not Black Lives Matter. It's not only for Black people, right? And if you're not for Black, white people could join and rally. No, freedom is for everyone. For everyone.
So, Macho, I got a final question before this last segment we got. I got a question for you. Are you saying that people with opposing views, hardcore communists, socialists, should have the right to protest?
Everyone should.
There we go.
Everyone should have
And
a right
that's
to
the
vote
difference between what Macho just shared, freedom, and wanting an agenda to be pushed over. I don't care if I totally disagree. You should have the right to fight against the government. But if I disagree, I should have the right to speak up on that as well. That's what freedom. It comes at a price, and it ain't easy.
And this is just a snippet on this story here, real quick. I thought that was very interesting. Dennis Prager, I know a lot of people on the left is going to discredit this example, but a lot of people don't realize that Dennis Prager is actually Jewish, right? He talks about the stories of when there was a neo or a Nazi group protesting, right? And they went as far as to say, hey, if they came to their defense, in a way, they came to their defense and said, okay, listen, hold on, before the judge weighed down, says, if you silence them, the Nazis in America, if you silence them, you're silencing us. That's what Dennis Prager says, because the freedom to speak is for all, not just for part of us, not for the people you agree with. It's for every single one of us. So don't
Facts.
silence them, because that's what we had back in Germany. That's what we
Facts,
had back
bro.
in some of the places that we were living. We don't want no silence. We want to be able to speak. Let freedom ring. Let freedom ring, right? Thank God Almighty, I'm free at last. That's what Martin Luther King was saying in his speech. But you're stifling, you're silencing because you don't agree with their goals, Justin Trudeau. Take a seat and think
People
about
are
what you just
ridiculous,
said
man.
for a second. And let's roll into this last one here. I want to do a quick shout out here of our guest here,
My
Snack.
guy, what up, Snacks?
And particularly, Snacks was vehemently attacked on TikTok and is no longer active on TikTok. In fact, he is IP banned. And this is an example of what we don't want to happen. This man
Crazy.
should be able to have a voice. He should be able to speak. If you don't agree with the way he speaks, that's fine. If you even have guidelines that says, okay, you can't say this word, you can't say that word, then be specific, TikTok or social media, but don't ban this man for using his voice. It's not fair what
Facts.
they did to him, and we stand on the side of him because we're all about freedom here. So we wanted to give you
My
a
guy,
shout out.
Snacks, we with you. Quick shout out I got on my end. I met my man Jay. I won't shout him out specifically, but I met my man in a bar. Cool peeps.
Nice.
You know, we in a state that doesn't really like to, talk about these things. You got to be real. You got to be careful who you talk to. But but he said it's answer account. These bro, the difference between conspiracy and reality is about 6 months. Every day, as Joe's becomes more and more profit, less and less crazy. It's unreal. But the point is, yeah, some of the craziest things you hear are starting to become a reality 6 months to a year from now, which is something to think about, which is crazy.
So I want to play this video here real quick. I'm going to play a snippet of it, but I'm encouraging all of you, check this out, because Vice News 4 days ago was able to go beyond the red zone and be able to interview a specific person in the Freedom Convoy. Let's check it out.
We're doing this in a form of sacrifice, and it's through sacrifice, as Jesus taught us, that the most important changes are made. Amen.
Lots more people are flooding in today and tonight, and every weekend it keeps getting bigger, so it's going to be wild.
Tyler Shellac is a 27-year-old farmer from Alberta, Canada. He drove 2,000 miles to join the trucker convoy in Ottawa to protest vaccine mandates and other COVID restrictions.
Alrighty, how is this going to look?
He's become one of the minor celebrities of the movement, with daily dispatches on his Facebook page, The Crackpot Farmer.
It's a bit late for upload, sorry. I went on a little bit of a walk. There's less police running around this morning, which is pretty cool. They seem to be taking a bit of a step back in terms of enforcing the area up here around Parliament Hill, but they seem to be getting a little more aggressive with monitoring CB radios and trying to keep in touch with and on top of our convoys that are outside of town. I just started doing little 30-second or 1-minute long videos of where we were going, or any big events that happened during the day. And more people started following it because they're having a hard time getting factual information. Why did you?
This is what I like. I like this next part. Yep, getting factual information. That's what I love. Vice News went beyond behind the curtain and is actually sitting down with somebody who is a part and involved in the protest. Let's see how this works out, and we'll close out the show right here.
Come out here. The past couple of years, I've been watching what our government has been doing, and the slippery slope we've been falling down. Governments don't often give back control once they've had it.
What are the examples of
government doesn't give back control once they've had it? See what's on their mind? That's not a white supremacy. Yeah. That's not a white supremacy thinking.
That's called freedom, bro.
Government. This is about freedom.
That's white supremacy. I'm a white supremacist.
I think that the vaccination passports requiring you to have taken something to be able to go to a hockey rink, to be able to eat inside of a restaurant. A government should not be able to segregate people based on their medical status. And when this convoy thing started, it was supposed to be peaceful. We were just going to go and make our voices heard. I thought that is something I can get behind.
There
the
goes
convoy
your
took off in January.
There goes your white supremacy right there. There goes your. This is inside, beyond the red zone.
Look at those signs.
Look at
Freedom.
that. Freedom.
Damn. Look at those white supremacy signs.
This is what I'm talking. What we've been talking to you guys about. And I'll you know. Savory. I know we only have like maybe 6 people registered watching us right now. 4 on YouTube, 2 on our Twitch accounts. But I just want to get real personal with everybody that if it wasn't appropriate in the 60s and beyond that, it's not appropriate now for anybody. Restricting anyone's freedom or right to vote or how they want to vote or how they want to live or how they want to conduct themselves. Y'all could speak up about that, but y'all can't speak about what's going on in Ottawa.
Crazy.
Y'all can't speak about what's going on in our country right now.
Crazy.
Let's stay consistent.
It's
Let's
freedom to
apply it
choose, bro.
equally.
That's how I like to express it. Guys, it's just freedom to choose. It's not freedom to choose what you think is right. It's freedom to choose and live even if you don't agree with it. That's the key that these people are fighting for.
It's not the government's job to dictate to us what freedom is.
Facts.
It's the people's responsibility to tell them what our freedom is. I'll leave you guys with that. See you guys on Wednesday.